Wait, okay, no, I thought you had some. I thought that was going to be something for reals interesting. I was like on the edge of my seat for a duck.
A lot of people think it's a fish, Brian. It's not.
No. All right. Yeah. Wait, I do. No. Am I right? Hey, what do you think the odds are that the military has made like real progress with LLMs getting dolphin soldiers?
I don't think LLMs are going to make dolphins into soldiers.
What?
But I do think that the military has probably made great progress into dolphin soldiers. It's probably machine learning that gets dolphins to be soldiers.
Well,
because you need that to pattern match and do the language translation.
Well, like Google has a project where they're doing LLMs to match behaviors, and like they have enough sample.
True.
Like so really we'll be able to translate. We're like, say the words that will cause the dolphins to go to that place. And then
we need to understand their grammar. And that's the part where that LLMs have not been able to crack, because we have to know enough about the grammar
I
to
saw
begin with.
Darmok and Gelada Tanagra. I'm aware of the problem. It is akin to knowing the vocabulary, but yeah. All right, man. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
I say we do a show not because it's easy, but because these chords.
All
right, here we go. 3, 2.
Folks, you found yourself at Cordkillers. You may look at the world of entertainment and think this is upside down. What the F is that about? We are here to help you figure out how to watch what you want, where you want, whenever you want. I'm Tom Merritt. Brian, what did we do?
Oh my God. Well, okay. It started off well-intentioned. It was kind of a lark. We were like, LOL, who else hates the cable companies? And then we got a pizza.
Yeah.
And then, maybe a few brewskis in. We're like, what if all the cable companies died because they killed their cords, and then we could watch what we want, when we want, and whatever device we wanted. Then we started a show, and kind of, it was like we were on the front lines of a hypothetical that became an actual, that became literal old news. And so now the show, in this vast economic entertainment wasteland, how do we find the good stuff?
Well, we do it by bringing you the information you need to navigate this post-apocalyptic wasteland of television in the supply run.
Supply run, supply run, supply run.
Brian, I think NBC Universal owes us a little thank you.
Wait, is it for driving up their share prices? Because I'm pretty sure we've not done that.
No. The Milan Cortina Olympics attracted 23.5 million viewers. That was across all the NBC and Versant outlets, so USA and stuff. Best Winter Games ratings since 2014. And who were the people that were reminding people the Olympics were happening that week?
Well, let's just say that before our main story was, wait, the Olympics are happening? I had no idea that the Olympics were happening. After our story, seems like a lot of people tuned in. So you're right. You're welcome, NBC.
The last time we did a story about the Olympics about to happen was 2014. I'm pretty sure. I didn't actually look, but I'm guessing. That's probably true.
Well, so
NBC's Gold Zone was very popular in the Olympics. That one's been running since 2012. We talked about it previously, but its addition to Peacock in 2024 has vaulted it to popularity. And it's what you might call the whip around format. It was been popularized by the NFL Red Zone, where you go to the team when they're in the red zone near scoring. The Gold Zone is, anything interesting happening, and especially people about to win a gold medal. That has fueled a lot of imitations. So FanDuel Sports Network is going to do a whip around with whatever sports it happens to have the rights to. We talked about that previously. CBS News has been doing a whip around format for its digital streaming news. We talked about that before, which has led people. In fact, they did an interview with the hosts of NBC's Gold Zone, and they're like, "We think this would be great for other stuff. We could brush up and provide commentary for other things." They talked about elections as a possibility, that, if you've got a lot of different states races happening at the same time. Someone suggested weather as one. When, like snowpocalypse is happening, you could bounce from state to state, see where the snow is happening the heaviest. And one of them suggested reality shows, where I guess it's not really live, but you just bounce between reality shows to show the like most intense moments that are happening in the Housewives or whatever, which I made me think, like, well, if you could do it for that, what else could the whip around format work with?
Tom, I believe if anybody heard a squishing sound, that was the sound of Brian's brain melting at the opportunity to completely blue sky a million ideas. Because when you mentioned the weather, there already are a couple of YouTube channels that algorithmically I never ever see, and then something interesting happens in the weather, and then they just exist. And then, like a snowstorm, they evaporate and they go away. The reality TV show is an interesting one, and where my head instantly went to was, so there's a fantastic podcast called Blocked and Reported. Are you familiar with it?
Yes. I'm not a regular consumer of it, but I'm aware of it.
So what they do is they find micro dramas. They rose to prominence kind of as the gates cracked during various purity spiral waves. But now what they do is they turn their eye of Sauron to niche communities that are currently having internet dramas and meltdowns. And so in other words, much like the weather, you go to where something interesting and you have to be told, hey, flooding is what we're worried about. Numbers getting close to flooding or not. Likewise, they're all like, in this community, norms are like this. This person was outside of the norms, so the correction's happening like that. And what it made me think of is, what if there was like a cultural weather report algorithmically fueled by Reddit? So imagine that in the Reddit firestorm of humans or some other community, right? Some kind of human opinion aggregator, when velocity strikes, somebody can up to the minute be talking about sentiments almost like we do with election cycles, but just weirdly about like, who likes who or who approves of what or something.
Yeah.
Would you tune into that, or is that too gross?
I probably would tune into it at first, and I would get really bored, because for me, and I think this is just me, honestly, I don't find anyone else like this. As soon as it gets interesting, I get bored. Because I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the same argument that always happens in these things. And everyone I talk to who's really excited about whatever drama is happening gets mad at me. They're like, no, but this is my thing. And I'm like, yeah, but it's always the same dynamics. And I try not anymore to explain, like, well, yeah, this always happens. And then these people always say this and that, because that takes all the fun out of it for them. But I'm a broken man. I think most people would really
I don't know,
love
Tom. I think you and I found each other for a reason. I think that we are ambivalent about what the sport is. We're mainly over on the sidelines pointing about how clever a design nudge that Y gate in the inflow of the crowd is.
And honestly, the Gold Zone format was so captivating for me because I was watching the dance. Right. I actually enjoy the Olympics, and I want to know who's winning. And I get sucked into like, oh, is she going to be able to do it? Is she going to be able to top the next person? But at the same time, I'm watching these guys go through the motions of saying, of elegantly saying with live things, okay, in a moment, the person who has the best chance of winning the gold is going to go. But let's direct your attention over here where the U.S. hockey team has been pressing their advantage. And then within a minute, there's a goal. Now, admittedly, sometimes it's actually tape delay, but they admit that. They're like, a goal happened, let's show you. But a lot of times they just have a sense like this is going to happen over here, so let's take it over here. Sometimes they'll have 8 things up at once, and they'll be able to explain like, oh, this one's in the third end of the curling match, so you want to keep an eye on that. But more importantly, this figure skater is about to go. It's amazing how much they are able to internalize. and know off the top of their head where to point your attention. I would love to see professionals do that in other milieus. Again, like you're saying, not because I'm going to care so much about it. So I don't know, maybe I'd take it back. If they were doing it with like internet dramas and they were doing it really well, maybe I would get sucked in because I just enjoy watching that performance.
Well, you know what's interesting, and we can't not occasionally talk about AI. It keeps showing up as a theme because there's what we think we want and then there's what we really want. And what we think we want is a smooth broadcast that arranges everything in a pleasing way and all that stuff. But we most certainly do want a human in the loop because, as you just mentioned, part of what you like about it is how effortlessly a human did it. Now imagine that there was no stutters or stammers. It was grammatically perfect and the pacing was perfect, but you knew for a fact that, you know, in order, there's a person doing it. That's amazing. It's less amazing when you find out it's a team that's doing it. And it's even less amazing when it's an algorithmically CPU intensive blah, blah, blah that creates the appropriate word salad. So I heard an interesting statistic this past week that it is estimated that 50% of all human jobs could be automated. We just don't want to. And the example they gave was a bartender, that we can automate 100% of bartender jobs. We just don't want to. And they went on to explain that Amtrak a while ago, 50% increase in the speed of their train engines, 0% change in their schedule because 40% of all of the tracks are curved and you can't go more than a certain speed over all those curves. So I think a lot about keeping humans in the loop. And I think that your appreciation for the effortlessness with which those announcers are able to process everything and have those keen observations. I'll never forget that one moment when the dude, you know, took it to the groin in the middle of the ski competition, and the whatever the familiar one, the one that Eileen kept quoting, that guy was just riffing on it like it was nothing. He was
the Australian guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Gimes. Yeah, I think there is something to that. I think when we say, well, a bartender could be automated, but we don't want it to, we're sort of incorrect. A bartender's drink making could be automated, but that's not the job of the bartender. If the job of the bartender was just to create drinks, it would have been automated. The job of the bartender is to be a human face, and to be able to, you know, say hi and talk a little bit and rap with everybody along the bar. In some situations, I would prefer an automated bartender, right? If it's really crowded and I'm not getting anything out of interacting with the human, maybe it would be better to be automated. But those are only the busiest of times, right? A lot of times it's not like that. And you like, even if you're not talking to the bartender, you like the idea of there's someone there that you can call over and you know, and get served. And I think there's something to that with the Gold Zone too. It's like they are the bartenders of live events. That's why I wonder if this works with pre-taped stuff like reality shows. With clever editing and setup, it probably could, but there's something to the urgency of live. And that goes for NFL Red Zone, that goes for the Olympics, that goes for news and weather as well. There's something of like, they have to be on their toes, and that adds an energy to them that is hard to fake. Like it is just a natural energy of like anything could happen at any time and I need to be aware of that. And when something happens and I'm taking you there, I get excited because like, okay, we are going to go because here comes Eileen Gu and she is about, you know, if she can get a 9 point, like there's that intensity that comes with that isn't going to be there in pre-planned stuff.
It tickles the same part of my mind, like the reason for sitcoms, we desperately want them to be filmed in front of a live studio audience because when there's surprise that's telegraphed, we want to feel it. And likewise, when the sports announcer says, in all my years, I've never seen blank, it's pretty great to know that this human's seen a lot of stuff and you got to see him amazed by history in the making.
Yeah. And there's also just a dopamine rush to this Red Zone, Gold Zone style, where you never get bored. It's rare that you ever are in a place where something isn't about to happen. And so unlike watching anything else where there's fallow periods. This is just constant, like we're going here, we're going there, we're going here, we're going there. I don't know. Maybe it would work for reality shows. Is there anything else besides the internet dramas that we can come up with?
We kind of already have it with CNBC and financial markets, any of the financial shows.
Yeah, but it's not whip around. Because news is always whip around in a certain sense, right? But the whip around is like we've got a person here, a person here, a person there. But so maybe you could juice up financial news that way, if you've got the multiple markets, you know.
Let's pitch reality shows for a minute. That might be fun because essentially there are things that, I don't know, let's say bee dealers coming to Discovery, right? It's like every year you got to take a bunch of bees in for the almond harvest and pollinating. And, you know, these bees got to make it to this farm by whenever. And there's, you know, ice road truckers style dramas. Like I would tune in for that and then suddenly cut to gorgeous macro photography. And then imagine if it's just like, we have a problem over at farm 22A, so-called Little Hoth. Yeah. And then you go over there and it's like, we call it Little Hoth because one year it was a degree colder than it's supposed to be. And then it's like, and then, you know, zoom in on a bee. And it's like, now this guy's not pollinating, cut over, look how much faster they're pollinating over there. Like I could be talked, as long as it's real and an authentic human is reacting to it, I'll watch any of that.
I feel like what you're describing is a reality show that is whip around, right? Where you have lots of stuff happening. What they're talking about here is multiple reality shows going on.
Yeah. No, I'm just expanding on that because I'm trying to think of like what else could be turned into.
I think yours is better because to me, the idea of like, okay, one of the other keys that makes this whip around format work is that you have multiple things on the screen at once. And so some things are happening that aren't being focused on. And it gives you the idea that something else is queuing up, but it also lets you look at it and say like, oh, that one's 2-1. Okay. You can monitor. So there has to be something in progress to make it work. And I'm not sure how you take Real Housewives or something and make the whip around format work. But if you design a reality show where it's like, we're going to do the whip around format in the reality show. So we've got the hive camera, and we got the harvester camera, and then we got the guy running into town with a camera. And then you can see all that happening and you're moving back and forth. Then I start to see it. Then I start to like, okay, yeah, that could be really interesting because it lets you, it's the best of both worlds of letting you pick what shot you want to look at, but you're also not responsible for everything. There's a guide to tell you like, actually the most exciting stuff is about to happen over here.
So I just had another, I can't let go of this other, Brian just wants to pitch reality shows apparently. Like imagine this, imagine a blockbuster that we're all excited about. Let's say it's a DC Universe thing, right? A super cousin is going to be introduced, right? It's a spinoff of The Bear meets Krypton, right?
Okay.
And Super Cousin's going to come out. And so if you are a citizen, you can enroll to be part of the show. What does that mean? That means that you will be fully spoiled on the entire development cycle of Super Cousin. But that means you will get to advocate for your thing and that thing and whatever, but you can't talk about it in the outside world. You sign an NDA, right? And so then the reality show becomes like you're watching like, okay, we're going to do another test screening and Susie and Teddy have been arguing about whether or not they need Super Cousin to break down with 3 tiers or 1 tier. And we're actually going to see whether or not how it tests with biometric data, like whatever. I'm thinking all the way down 100 years. By 100 years, I mean 5 years from now, when we're all totally Borg and technology makes all of this possible. I can see any of that.
Yeah. No, let us know if you're like, Brian, Tom, I think I have the whip around winner that no one has thought of yet. Send it to us, cordkillers@gmail.com. Like this person did after we talked about the Olympic stuff. Exciting news. Along with the Olympics being even better on Peacock this year, they have finally stopped publishing the spoiler score of rugby games in the description for Six Nation games and in the highlights. I haven't checked Peacock. Most services give you the option of, do you want to see the scores or not? I personally always want to see the score because I'm never somebody who's going to watch the whole game later, but I get it. If you're a Six Nations fan and you're like, I don't want to know if Wales got stomped on or not. I want to see it play out in real time and have my dreams crushed by myself. Then yeah, you're gonna want to not see those scores. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
glad to hear that. There is one score that I think everybody could participate in and know about without feeling spoiled, and that's the score of backing us at patreon.com/Cordkillers, Brian.
Yeah, welcome to our new segment called Settle in the Score with Bri and T-Dog.
T-Dog in the morning.
Picture us kind of slapping a fist in a cupped hand. Hey, listen, I know a lot of you guys are we're a morning zoo. Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, here, then let me pint. There we go. Look, a lot of you guys are having meals with us all the time, and you're not covering our tab. And look, that's all we're asking. Once a month, buy us a meal. Once a month, buy us a meal. Some of you guys are accidentally, I'm sure through no fault of your own, paying us only a cent because you got in so early you haven't really thought about it. Why don't we catch up? Why don't we just call it $10? Yeah, cover a meal once a month. That's all we ask. Head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers, and I'll tell you what, we'll make it worth your while. You'll get your own RSS feed. You'll get early access to the full experience. You'll get exclusive access where we say super secret things that we hope nobody will ever share in the After Talk segment. And how about this? No commercials. We intentionally degrade our public-facing feed. The only people who get no commercials are the folks who show up live, and even they don't get After Talk. Only the fine patrons over at patreon.com/Cordkillers get it.
That's right, folks. Avoid all of that by just paying a little money. It's money you don't even have to take it out of your wallet. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. Let's move on to the search party. Did or did not Brian watch the Toy Story 5 trailer for the 5th Toy Story movie coming to theaters June 19th, 2026? We find out the answer now, Brian.
No. But wait, was it good?
Okay, if I were to guess, I would guess that if you had watched it, you would say, you can tell they're older now.
Oh, the voices?
The people doing the voices.
Yeah.
You can tell they're older now. Also, the plot is about technology toys threatening the old-fashioned toys, which I'm sure you would find no fault with.
Well, hang on. Wasn't that what the first movie was about? An old-fashioned cowboy with a pull thing, and then technology toys threatened what's old is new again.
Is that fault or is that positive?
Well, yeah, as you and I have talked about this, anybody who's been listening to us for the past 16 years knows that I've gone through an arc. 16 years ago, Brian would be annoyed that there's nothing new. Older, wiser Brian has seen a bit more and is like, yep, turns out there's only 27 archetypal stories that you can tell around the campfire.
Yeah. Well, either way, Toy Story, you have a friend in me. Netflix will live stream a rematch between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao on September 19th from the Sphere in Las Vegas. They last met more than 10 years ago. They are now 48 and 47 years old, respectively. Good for Netflix. Good for Floyd Mayweather and Manny? I have no idea, but definitely good for Netflix.
I mean, I'm here for it. Those are the authentic people. I mean, says the currently aging micro celebrity Brian Brushwood. I think they should squeeze money out of their fame forever.
48 is young.
Yeah.
What are they talking about? Speaking of fights, Fight Club is getting a 4K digital and Blu-ray release May 12th, back in the theaters for one night on April 22nd in advance of that.
What do you think the demographic looks like at these showings, Tom?
Probably Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather or older.
Yeah, that I'm really excited to see that in the theater, just to see how well it ages. That 1999 was a hell of a year for movies. The Matrix, American Beauty, and Fight Club all came out the same summer. All of them are the exact same story of drones at their workaday pre-programmed jobs, stepping outside of what they're supposed to do with the rest of their life. Also happened to be right at the time I quit my day job to try Magic on for a side. So obviously I had a deep affinity for Fight Club back in the day. It'll be interesting to see how much I love it through older eyes, through Floyd Mayweather eyes.
It's not just a reissue too. It's been upgraded. So there'll be that aspect of it of, oh, do you like the 4K treatment of it? Do you like Fincher's, restoration of it, so to speak, or would you rather have seen it in the original 24p film?
Well, keep in mind that it was very cutting edge in the computer graphics department at the time in 1999, but that was when The Phantom Menace was in 720p. It wasn't even in 1080p, I don't think. Or maybe it was just 1080p. But whatever it is, I'll be curious to know how much they enhance all of those digital effects.
Yeah. Hulu has officially greenlit a pilot of Ryan Coogler's X-Files reboot. The show plans to follow the original storyline, two FBI agents who bond as they work on cases around paranormal and unexplained phenomena. They can probably say paranormal better than I can.
You know what? I heard you say it perfectly. What a strange phenomenon that's happening right now.
No casting news. So we don't know if we're getting any of the original band back together for this or not. But Ryan Coogler going to bring back the X-Files. Jury Duty Season 2 has been cast. Jury Duty was a show where a man showed up for jury duty and didn't realize that he was the only non-actor in the entire thing, including the witnesses, the plaintiffs, the judge, the whole thing. And they all pretended like it was a real courthouse and real jury situation and that it was being documented. That's why there were cameras there. So Jury Duty Season 2 can't pull that off because people are probably looking for that. Jury Duty Season 2 will be a company retreat. The idea is that someone just got hired as a temp and is told they need to come and help out at the company retreat. And at the retreat, the founder will announce that they are planning to step down and a succession battle ensues. And the one person who's not an actor and doesn't know this is going on gets pulled into it that way. Premieres March 20th with 3 episodes, followed by 2 episodes on March 27th and a 3-episode finale on April 3rd.
So I think when we talked about Jury Duty Season 1, I compared it to Joe Schmo's show and talked about how Season 1 was really good. Season 2, they tried to fool 2 people with a dating show, and then one of them sniffed it out, and then the other one got fooled. They had to recruit one of them. I think somebody's radar is going to go off. I think that people are intimidated by being on a jury. Because I remember when Justin Robert Young on our comedy podcast, he demystified the whole process. And because I had never seen a court go to trial or any of that stuff. And he talked us through it and it was interesting. But I could imagine being intimidated enough to not push back. But a company retreat where ridiculous shenanigans start happening, I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah. And the camera aspect of it starts to be harder to explain. We are shooting a documentary about jury duty. I could buy that. That tracks. We're doing a company retreat and the cameras are here and they don't go away when nefarious stuff starts to happen. That would trigger my spidey sense. I'd be like, why are we filming this conversation, this, controversial conversation? But I don't know, maybe they'll be clever about it and have hidden cameras and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Apple is partnering with IMAX to show 5 races from the 2026 F1 season. The Miami Grand Prix May 3rd, Monaco Grand Prix June 7th, British Grand Prix July 5th, Italian Grand Prix on September 6th, and the U.S. Grand Prix October 25th at select IMAX theaters in the U.S. Apple isn't even trying to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, and they're playing really nice with the theater owners.
Yeah. I wish I had more on that one. I got nothing for you, Tom.
I mean, the only way to go with it is obviously the Formula One races are part of Apple TV now. So I guess you have an IMAX theater thing for folks who are into F1 to convince them how awesome Apple TV is, and don't, even though it's a change, don't shy away from subscribing to Apple TV. And by the way, while you've subscribed for Formula One, please try out For All Mankind, premiering March 27th on Apple TV. Here's a new trailer for season 5. You didn't happen to watch this trailer, did you? I didn't mark it for us to watch. But.
No.
Okay, so For All Mankind season 5 is jumping ahead to the 2010s now. And for anybody who doesn't know, the premise of For All Mankind is that the Soviets get to the moon first in the 60s, and that spurs a new kind of space race, which actually goes farther than we went. I think the idea is so the Soviets got into space with Sputnik first, but we got to the moon first, and that kind of took the wind out of the sails. Whereas if the Soviets had gotten the moon first, the U.S. would have dug in and tried to build this, try to top them out, and build a station on the moon, which is how For All Mankind plays out. By season 5, they're on Mars, and now there has been a settlement on Mars long enough that Earth is trying to reassert control over it.
Yeah. Okay. By all accounts, I need to hurry up and just binge all of For All Mankind.
Yeah, you're gonna like the Martian Rebellion. I don't even just from the trailer.
I mean, as a huge fan of Kim Stanley Robinson's Red Mars, Green Mars, Blue Mars trilogy, yeah.
Winona Ryder has been cast on season 3 of Wednesday from Netflix. That reunites her with Tim Burton and Jenna Ortega from other stuff. Season 3 production began in Ireland, so if you're excited about that, it's underway. And ESPN has started distributing MLB TV through the ESPN app. If you're a subscriber to ESPN Unlimited, you get a little bit of a break. It's $135 for the season. If you don't have ESPN Unlimited, it's $150, but you get a month free of ESPN Unlimited. And if you sign up for MLB TV, you can watch it on the ESPN or MLB app. So if you're used to watching these out-of-market games on your Major League Baseball app, you can still do that. It's just managed by ESPN, but you can also watch them in the ESPN app now if you want. And ESPN says in 2027, it will be able to deliver local teams to viewers in their own markets. So no blackouts, at least for some teams. Which is always the big complaint about these services.
Are we finally reaching sports equilibrium? Because there's always been
getting there,
an unbalanced aspect to sports. Whether who's subsidizing who likes this, who doesn't like that, who wants to extract maximum value out of their fans, blackouts, and all that stuff. Are in 5 years? Actually, as I'm saying it, I can feel how ridiculous the question sounds. In 5 years, will everything finally be sorted out?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
I think the answer is yes. And it's nice to have a question like that where you can say definitively the answer is yes. Every league is doing it a little differently. With Major League Baseball, they now have control of close to half of the team's local broadcasts, which has been the plan, because what they want is Major League Baseball to get back the rights that they have agreed by contract to sell, so that then they can sell them as a block. Right. Right now you have the regional sports networks that, are slowly going bankrupt enough that Major League Baseball has been able to get them back. But there's a few outliers, right? There's the New York and Los Angeles markets that are not going bankrupt. They're doing quite well. Those will be harder to get. So they'll have to make some sort of accommodation with the rights holders that they've agreed to there. But eventually, yeah, all of it's going to be owned by the leagues, and then they'll sell it all at a piece to streaming services like what they're doing with ESPN.
Yeah.
First teaser trailer for Netflix's Pride and Prejudice also out. If you're interested, that series is coming later this year. Let us move on to the buried treasure.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
So, Brian, you're continuing your revisit of 11/22/63, I assume?
Yeah, it's just, boy, not a lot of free time this past week, Tom. It's been crazy, but I did make time to walk through it, and yeah, it really does hold up. I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix right now, originally a Hulu original, and it's good, even though it's 10 years later that we're watching it.
I've got a lighter one for folks out there, and it's on iQIYI, but you can probably find it on YouTube. Question is whether you can find it on YouTube with subtitles because it's in Korean, but it's called Secret Friends Club, and it's all a thing. This one in particular is set around Christmas, but they have different seasons of them. The current season is 5 superstars have to get presents for their secret friend without the friend discovering it.
Love it. Love it. I love that it's so tiny and low stakes, and yet I'm certain can feel very, very big, like the whole world is imbalanced.
Yeah, so you get these really fun little storylines of them trying to figure out what the person they've gotten likes. So for example, Jennie Kim from Blackpink, she's a singer and a rapper, got this guy who is a like ex-military reality show star. And so she's like, okay, so he'll like vitamins, and I know he goes to the gym. So she gets all of this like health stuff that he likes that she does research to find out. And then she drops it off at the gym and tries to avoid like close to the time he normally goes to the gym, but not so close that he's going to see her while she's dropping it off. And you see pictures of the different camera crews, like as she goes up the stairs and then he comes down the stairs, and there's all that. And then of course there's the fun of them opening it up and go, oh yeah, this is the kind of thing I like, et cetera, et cetera. It's super low stakes fun. Like you said, you can find it again on YouTube or iQIYI, Secret Friends Club. If you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. So Brian,
Yes.
tell me, how else can we help?
I'll tell you what. Here's the thing. It occurs to me somebody out there is not aware of just how good World's Greatest Con is. And Justin and I yesterday cracked another piece of the next upcoming episode. And some people, our friend Andrew Heaton was just like, are you still making that show? And I was just like, you're lucky you're in another side of the planet. Otherwise, I'd punch you. Yeah, of course we're making it. And it's great. We released one just 2 weeks ago about whether or not rainmakers believe they can make it rain. We told the incredible story of Charles Hatfield, who got paid in today's adjusted money of $150,000 to make it rain, and whoopsie doodle made it rain so hard, did he? Who nobody knows, that people died. And all of a sudden the city council had to decide, so do we write a check for this if he owns
or do we sue him?
Right? And here's the crazy part. The real lesson is, you know what in 1990 the city of San Diego did? Paid someone $150,000 to do what? Make it rain. It's incredible. I'm telling you guys, World's Greatest Con is fantastic. I don't have a proper website set up for it, so don't Google search it. Actually go to worldsgreatestcon.com. There's like a fake website out there that'll steal your SEO. So don't, it only has season 1. That's why a lot of people think it didn't keep going. So go open up your podcatcher, type in World's Greatest Con, and look for The Rainmaker.
Yeah, The Rainmaker is really good. In fact, I jokingly told Brian after I listened to it, I'm going to make it rain in LA in the next couple of days. And it did.
Yeah.
It did rain.
So far, nobody's taking me up on my bet. I ain't got no $50 payments yet. So I don't know if I don't like that.
Well, I love it. You should subscribe to it. It's great. And there's more coming. So The World's Greatest Con. World's Greatest Con is the name of the podcast. While you do that, we'll scan the horizon for you.
Send a scanning crew aboard.
Scanning the horizon!
Oh, Brian, it's our favorite time of the week. I'll be sad when it's over someday. It's checking in on the love triangle of Netflix, Paramount, and Warner Brothers Discovery.
I'll tell you what, where's our whip TV of this? Like, ooh.
Yeah, right? The U.S. Department of Justice is investigating Netflix's proposed acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. That just means they're looking at it at this point. It doesn't mean they are actively trying to block it, but they are assessing whether they should or not. Recipients of requests have until March 23rd to provide documents and sworn responses. Meanwhile, Paramount cleared a 10-day waiting period from the DOJ without a response. Now, that doesn't clear them off the hook. It doesn't mean they couldn't have an antitrust exemption or investigation, but it does give them a thing to show investors like, hey, we proactively submitted paperwork to the Department of Justice. That 10 days later, we didn't hear anything back. So we can assume that we are pretty likely to clear any investigation, or they would have gotten back to us because we proactively did it. Whereas Netflix is out there being investigated right now. On the red carpet on Sunday in London for the BAFTA Awards, Ted Sarandos blasted Paramount and said, just put a better deal on the table and see if you can win. And they did. Spoiler, I'll get to that in a second. After an appearance on a podcast in which a board member of Netflix was critical of the Republican Party, the president of the United States, who is a member of the Republican Party, called for her to be fired. Her name is Susan Rice. Ted Sarandos also wrote a rebuttal to James Cameron's letter that slammed the Netflix deal. And finally, just this morning, Warner confirmed that it has received a revised offer from Paramount, but neither Paramount nor Warner are disclosing the terms. Deadline reports that the amount has increased. Paramount had offered $30 a share. Deadline says it's more than $30 a share. We just don't know what the number is.
Yeah. Man, what a weird dance. I'm at the point now that I don't like that we're being forced to watch. Like they got their thing they're into. They want us to watch. I don't know. I guess it's our job. We bravely have to watch.
Do you think it's still what Paul Anka said, where Netflix went in to drive up the price, and this is the moment where Paramount raised the price?
To be honest, just hearing you spell that out, it's like, it sounds right to me. It's like, yeah. I dare you. I double dog dare you to spend even more money. Come on.
Why? If Paramount has a better offer, they should throw it on the table, said Ted Sarandos.
Yeah. We're back to that Hook suicide moment where Captain Hook is like, don't try to stop me, Smee.
Stop me.
Don't try to stop me. Stop me, Smee.
Stop me, Smee. Yeah. I feel like this is the moment, though. If it has been a con, or if it's not been a con, and Warner just decides Paramount finally came with a better offer, I think this is the week we find out. I don't see Paramount continuing this in a successful manner. They might continue to try to get shareholders because there's a March 20th vote, so they could try to get the shareholders to revolt then. But giving Paramount 7 days to come back and make a final offer takes a little bit of the wind out of their sails. They'd been saying, we had a better offer and you wouldn't listen. Well, now Warner has listened. So if this doesn't do it, then I think it's over. Or this does it. And then I think Netflix just goes, well, I guess we couldn't get it. Oh, well, and we'll keep our cash.
Yeah.
By the way, Netflix does have an all cash offer. Nielsen's The Gauge showed Disney, driven by college and NFL football games, has moved up to 11.9% of U.S. viewing. That's the biggest jump since spring 2024 when they started counting these by company. And that puts it right behind YouTube at 12.5% of viewing. YouTube's consistently right about there. Netflix is in third with 8.8%, which is also about where they usually are, followed by NBC Universal, which still counts the Versant properties, Paramount, Fox, and Warner Brothers. So it's the number 3 Netflix wanting to combine with the number 7 Warner Brothers, or the number 5 Paramount with the number 7 Warner Brothers.
Yeah, either way, it doesn't seem like that much. I mean, I guess third place buys its way into second place is what we're looking at.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, exactly. That is kind of what happens, and starts to flirt with passing YouTube, which Disney's already doing. So now you'd have a 3-way race. Right now it's a 2-way race.
Yeah.
AMC Theaters reported that revenues for the 3-month period ending in December topped out at $1.28 billion. That's not the important number. The important number is that's down 1.4% from a year earlier. And more troubling than that was attendance dropped nearly 10%. So they were able to milk more money out of people one way or another, probably mostly with concessions from the looks of it. But they have 10% fewer people coming to the movies in December than they did December of 24.
Tom, this just in, I'm live at the scene where the real tragedy is happening. Yes, I can announce there still is no summer movie draft. Our favorite fantasy game is still not returning.
Okay, that's sad to hear, Brian, but thank you for that update. Now, if you watch in the upper left of your screen, we are going to get Regal Cinemas earnings here shortly. Netflix will donate funds to a new building at the UK's National Film and Television School to be named after the late film producer Albert R. Broccoli, which is odd because MGM owns the James Bond rights, which is owned by Amazon. You think Amazon would build the Broccoli building, but no, it's Netflix building the Albert R. Broccoli building.
Okay. Is this some 7-dimensional chess happening? Are they courting the Broccoli family, who apparently is very hands-on with the Bond property?
I wonder. And Amazon is sort of grabbed their hands and said, "Please stop touching the Bond."
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, they found themselves. We reported on the fact that the Bond stuff would be a technically different things because the Broccoli's are so protective of it.
Yeah. And Netflix is also running some James Bond movies on its service as well.
Tom, are we doing the exact show that we were pitching earlier? Like, I think we are. I guess we are.
Yeah. U.S. users are spending more time watching vertical videos than they do watching Netflix, Disney Plus, or Prime Video on their mobile device. This is not in general, but if you are on a phone or a tablet, I think tablets count too, more people are watching vertical videos now than are watching horizontal videos.
That tracks in terms of views. And of course, the depth of interaction. What'll be interesting is to see I don't know if they can get longer in a vertical format. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of tools that change. For example, face tracking makes it easier now to where widescreen stuff, there's a couple of shorts I just released from the new episode of Modern Rogue where we learned the solitaire game Scoundrel, where you could see that it's tracking my face, kind of pivoting back and forth on there. So I don't know. Tom, how was it that we all came to not hate vertical video all of a sudden?
Because it was never a problem. It was just I don't like different things. And then we all saw video or vertical video long enough that we're like, oh, it's not different anymore. It's totally normal. I talked, maybe it was COVID. Maybe in 2020, everybody looked at each other on phones in vertical video. We're like, I guess the world's vertical now.
I'd like to believe it was Quibi. Quibi convinced us all.
Yeah. Quibi said, you don't want to go back and forth. We'll make you. We'll make you choose. Microdramas are buzzy. I don't know how big they are going to stay, but they are definitely growing. They definitely have big numbers, and they're all vertical as well. A new UK law is in effect that requires any video on demand platform with more than 500,000 users to be automatically designated a tier 1 service. So that'll apply to Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, as well as broadcaster platforms like ITVX and Channel 4. That basically means the streaming arms have to abide by the same rules that the broadcast and cable arms do. So, for example, there are requirements for a certain percentage of their content to have subtitles, a certain percentage to have audio descriptions, and a certain percentage have sign language support, stuff like that. But they use, a lot of them have this sort of thing already, but now they are saying, oh, we didn't have them classed, and they have so many people watching it, we're going to put them in the same class.
Yeah. How interesting, because on the one hand, I understand the impulse to do it, but also it's like, what a almost trivial investment of energy to do on the part of the content providers. And now with robots helping, some of this seems like it could be done on device nowadays. So
yeah. And this story, I think, could be taken as government intervention. To me, it's more standard setting. Yeah. And because I don't think it matters if it's done on device.
Like just applying the same standards to a different modality.
It's just basically like, hey, 90% of your stuff needs to have subtitles for the hard of hearing. We don't care if it's on device or whatever, as long as they get it. Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, there you go. That is a look at that. And we always like to finish up with the chatter.
Got mail.
Brian, we've made Ander very happy.
Good.
Anders says, I want you to know I was completely caught off guard by your talking about the Rousey-Carano fight and your commentary. The news of that fight got all my in-laws excited about it, and I'm even going to get a Netflix subscription just to watch it, which brings me to the second point. In regards to the Muppet Show, I rarely open up the Disney Plus app. I mostly have it for my nieces and nephews and whatnot. When I was opening the app for the first time in a long time to watch the Muppet Show, I wondered if my lack of activity on the app and then opening it just to watch a specific show added some weight metric to my view. You guys touched on it briefly, but they track way more than just view time. What other things do we know they're looking at with activity, and what are some behaviors that might make your data point shine a little brighter? Will getting Netflix to watch the fight and then canceling after the month blip on their radar?
In general, the harder and more annoying a thing is to do, the more valuable it is, full stop. When people say write your congressman, they don't mean click on this petition. They don't mean type out an email. They don't mean vote in a poll. They mean pull out a piece of paper and a pen and write to your congressman, because that will affect the outcome more. Likewise, all of your actions are statistically significant in that they are representative of a general consensus. We are the sum total of all of our actions, not our intentions. That's why people will vote. They will say one thing to a poll, and then their actions will show otherwise. So the fact that you logged in, whether or not the system knows why you logged in, it noticed that action. It mattered that it was a dormant account that became active. Is that right, Tom? Does that track?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And I know there is a metric some folks use called previously inactive monthly active user. And that is something that the Muppet Show would be very interested in using to make their case for making more Muppet shows. If you've got a high percentage of previously inactive monthly active users, like we got people to open the app. And when they open the app, they tend to see other things in the app, and they tend to remember that they opened the app and remember the other things they saw. And then maybe they're going to watch those other things. Doesn't always happen, but it happens enough that is a valuable thing to get people to do. And so, yeah, I don't know that you were in any way a different viewer as far as like the number of total viewers, but there is a metric that noticed like, oh, this is a person who doesn't normally open this app, and this is the thing they watched immediately after they opened it. That's an important piece of data to look at.
So think about the numbers that we report on tend to be the hard numbers. Picture a crowd of 1,200 people, statistically significant sample of all humans. And then let's say you're reporting on the actions of that crowd. You can say, applause line, got applause or did not get applause, right? Putting into words the general vibe of like grumble, grumble, or this one mixed applause or whatever. Like the more fine you get to, those become harder to report on. So no, your login won't be reported on or show up in a graph, but it does add to the flavor of the velocity profile. Like somewhere an analytics program or an actuary is going to say, whatever this was electric and charged this amount of money spending populace.
Yeah, because if you are an inactive user for long enough, you will eventually cancel. But if you are a active user, you are much less likely to cancel. John wrote, howdy. When I started to listen to your full experience about Lost, I was reminded of something that has happened to me a couple of times. I start watching a show expecting it to be one thing, and when it does not turn out to be that thing, I lose interest in it, despite the show being otherwise a very good show. Lost was one example. I expected the show to be a straightforward demonstration of how this group of people could form a society and survive on the island. I was turned off when the show turned to supernatural storylines.
Spoiler alert.
It wasn't that the storylines were bad. It just wasn't what I expected, and I was not able to get past it to enjoy the show. Another example, which is also probably a spoiler, was The Last Man on Earth. When he ran into other people, I lost interest. I wonder if either of you have had this experience. Thanks for all you do. Your boss, John.
I've had the experience of getting turned off by a program because I saw the potential for it to be something more interesting than it was. Like in the early buzz before Ant-Man and the Wasp had come out, there was buzz suggesting that it might be like a rom-com, a romantic comedy. And I thought, how electric to have a romantic comedy, a different flavor of program in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was not that. It was yet another MCU movie in an increasingly crowded field. And I can't really speak to how good or not good it was. I know that I lost interest because it wasn't as good as the one in my head. So I could definitely relate to that. What about you, Tom?
I mean, yes, 100%, John. All of us have this where we have an expectation of something and then it doesn't meet our expectations. And usually that means we're disappointed. It is the rare treat where we had an expectation, it didn't meet it, but surprised us with something even more delightful. Those are the true gems. And I think a lot of times people trash stuff for the reason of it not meeting their expectations, but not being such a surprise that it overcame those expectations. And that's unreasonable. Most things won't do that. That doesn't mean they're bad. It just means you wanted something else. I say this all the time on the Sword and Laser Book Club. It's like a book isn't bad usually. It's usually you wanted something else and it didn't give that to you. It's like, you know, you wanted to eat chicken and somebody gave you a beef hamburger. You're going to be like, man, it's not what I wanted. It doesn't mean the hamburger's bad. The hamburger could be quite good. You just wanted chicken. So I think that is perfectly natural. The only other thing I'd add is you can hack that. You can change your expectations if you want to enjoy something.
Shockingly easy to do so. Like if you decide to try changing your mind about something arbitrary that doesn't matter. I'll never forget, I was reading the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, and there was a throwaway line that stopped me in my tracks. It said, even though Pepsi is objectively better than Coke, and I was like, what? That's not true. I'm a Coke man. And then I was like, well, why are you saying that, Brian? I'm like, because tribalism, and it's like, because blind taste tests seem to indicate Pepsi Challenge was a success for a reason. And it's like, why don't you just try deciding the opposite? And I did. And then now I drink RC Cola.
And yeah, you could, I mean, there are certain things where you don't like them because you thought that radish would be sweet and then you taste it and it's sour, it's vinegary. But if you change that expectation to say, I expect this to be vinegary, I like vinegary things, then suddenly you're going to like the radish. And yeah, it's surprisingly easy to change those expectations. I'm not saying you should change your expectations, but you can if that ends up being helpful. Josh writes, hey guys, based on Tom's recommendation, I started Can This Love Be Translated on Netflix and currently am on a binge. I was a guy who never liked rom-coms, but trusted Tom's judgment to try this one out. And here I was, a 41-year-old man screaming at the screen saying, can't you see she likes you? And sitting with a box of tissues crying. I personally feel K-dramas capture life's awkwardness better than Western shows, which try to cater to a wider audience. While this show in particular seems to care about what it wants to say, take it or leave it. I'm so glad that you enjoyed that, Josh. And I totally agree that this show surprised me with how it's like, no, this is our message. We're you know, we think it's more than just the rom-com aspect of it. And I'm glad you agreed with that.
Right on.
We should make Brian watch it.
I'll squeeze it in all my free time.
No spare time. Yeah. Well, that is it for Cordkillers. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we are live at twitch.tv/nightattack and youtube.com/modernrogue Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. Come on and join us at the live broadcast. I reckon we'll talk to you next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Got it.
Nice.
Got
it in one.
You want to just roll straight into full experience, or?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, then I will tee this up and then we'll do this. And 3.
I'll say don't bring me in because I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Okay. All right. 3, 2.
Oh my friends. Welcome to the full experience. I've never felt fuller about an experience than the journey we are on now. Full experience, if you're new, is Brian and I taking 4 episodes of a TV show, just watching those 4 episodes to see if we can gather the flavor of the entire run. And we are in the middle of watching Lost. We watched the first, the ultimate, the lowest, and the last of each series. We've already watched the first. This week, we are talking about the ultimate, the highest rated show on IMDb, season 4, episode 5 of Lost, The Constant, which first aired February 28th, 2008. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Hey, Tom, am I right in remembering that when we were looking for the ultimate, we were worried that there was like a tie or something? There was a couple of them that were pretty close.
Oh, you know what? Actually, let me double check that for you on Series Graph, because yes, I think there was something where we had to like appeal directly to the main IMDb.
Yeah.
Because yes, season 3, episode 23, Ender, Through the Looking Glass Part 2 is 9.7, and then The Constant is also 9.7. But when you go to IMDb and you do the sorting, it actually puts The Constant above, which means it's 9.76 and the other one is 9.74 or something like that. But they are very close.
I am so glad that this was the one to edge it out, because I don't know how good the other one would fit with the full experience, but so far we're batting 1,000. Like you and I enjoyed Lost at the time that it came out, and the pilot, of course, is the pilot. And this, as an ultimate episode, the continuity of we go from the pilot that we kind of understand, and now it's like we start with an opening shot of 3 people. We have no idea who they are. Saeed, we barely saw in the pilot at all.
We don't know Saeed's name at this point, right? We've seen him, so we might remember him. That's about as far as we go. Otherwise, the other 2, we have no idea who they are.
But I'll tell you what, the storytelling is very, very clean, because you begin in a closed environment with 3 characters that if you're meeting them for the first time, you get it. You get a blissed out Desmond who's thinking of his girl and whatever. And then suddenly we get a mystery that was a mystery to all of the live watchers at a time. And of course, a mystery to us just going in, not knowing anything, but we're meeting Desmond's world for the first time. So that plays really well. And just like, spoiler alert, what's great is if you're doing the full experience to understand Lost, you get the pilot and then you get an episode that you're like, man, seems like they're trying to get off or on that island, and it's very mysterious, which is pretty dead on.
No, it was interesting because I'm like, okay, we know Jack, right? Because he's our first person we meet in the pilot. So when he shows up, it's the first time we can go, okay, I do know that guy. Like Saeed, maybe you recognize, maybe you didn't, but you know Jack. And the other person is they mention Charlie.
Yeah.
We never see Charlie. We don't really know what happened to Charlie, but we know that Penny spoke to Charlie. And so that they were like, oh, Charlie, I know who that is. The rest of it is entirely different. And I really wish we had somebody watching this for the first time who had never seen Lost, who was just watching this, because I wonder how surprising the boat is. In episode 1, we get the conversation of like, well, the rescue people will be here in 48 hours. Like it's going to be fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I guess,
but
I mean, luckily
have Grundy telling us like they don't know where we are. So maybe it won't be as easy as she thinks.
They're looking in the wrong place or whatever.
The next episode we see, there's a boat, right? But they're trying to fly to the boat and it's difficult to get to the boat. And there's a whole physics thing with the boat that we run through. So it's clearly not easy, but we don't really know, like, is the boat trying to come to them and it can't? But why are the boat people so weird about everything?
Well, and with my superpower called forgetting, watching this episode with fresh eyes, it occurred to me like it's not at all clear that the boat was ever looking for them. Maybe it's a research vessel, and there clearly is something.
It's clearly antagonistic, and it's also clear that Faraday is trying to tell Jack things that the other person doesn't want him to say. And so there's some antagonistic thing that we have no idea what the background story of it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
But then you have the story of The Constant, which is like a standalone episode, basically, which is like you like this could be a short story if you leave out all the rest of it. And like a man flies through a strange storm and is now forgets his present and is stuck in the past. And a physicist helps him understand that he needs a constant in order to restore his memories. So he goes in search of convincing a woman who doesn't love him to call him in the future. And does it not happen, or does it? And that's really what this entire episode is about. It's a love story.
All of it reads perfectly fine without any external context. I mean, it reminded me a little bit of the simplicity of the movie Primer, where it's like there's a lot of implied things happening in the outside world, but it's really just the story of two guys in a startup, and time-ish things happen. It's very inclusive. It's rare that you see a ultimate highest rated episode be such a good standalone episode. And I think maybe that's what we're a little bit giddy about for Lost, is that it's passing the full experience with flying colors.
Yeah, it is really interesting. And I think it's a testament to one of the underrated aspects of Lost that Lindelof always talked about in the Lost podcast, which is each episode is a good story. We are trying to tell an arc story and have every episode be a good story. We're trying to do both at the same time, and it's really difficult. And we could argue overall whether they did that across the entire breadth of the series, but they definitely did it in this episode.
Yeah. No, I think it's a 10 out of 10 so far on the full experience. It's good. It's a good show. A lot of attractive people. Everybody's gorgeous. like
yeah, and almost entirely different people than the attractive people in episode 1.
Yeah, just everyone's
Where
beautiful.
do they find them all?
Yeah.
I did note at one point they ask, what do you expect to find when you get there? Answers. And I wrote,
it was like, I got bad news for you, guy.
I got real bad news.
I feel like we've heard that 2 episodes in a row now.
But the idea of a constant that you care about between different time periods, and your ability to interact with that constant, that's wonderful. And that's why this episode is liked. It also struck me that as a full experience viewer, we are as confused as Desmond, right?
Yeah.
Like we also have lost 4 seasons of memory as we jump from episode 1 to episode 405.
Yeah. By the way, in the chat, Flying Car 100 asked if we've done Stargate SG-1 for the full experience. We'll take that one under advisement. That's a pretty good suggestion.
Yeah, well, it's on the list for sure. Yeah. And then there was the auction where it was a little funny that it's like, you need to drive to Oxford. And he's on a military base, but I guess he can just leave. so he does. He drives to Oxford, and then he goes to an auction to find Penny's dad, who gives him a hard time, but like a bad dad hands over the address.
It's like, you seem unhinged and sexually interested in my daughter. Here is her address. Oh, and also you just blacked out in the middle of this bathroom. Allow me to just write this address and leave it there.
It was that auction. I don't know if you caught any of the things that they were auctioning, like the painting of the Black Rock. That was a huge part of the extended reality game.
I did see, I had the closed captioning on, and shouts out to the captioning experience. The captions, I know that you don't do closed captioning usually.
No,
so we didn't have it when we were watching Lost over at your place, but on my television, closed captioning is always on. And I thought it was neat that in the Disney Hulu experience, the caption is automatically set to that Century Gothic font that J.J. Abrams single-handedly brought back.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There was a whole book about the voyage of the Black Rock that they put out.
The ship that they say, that vignette begins with a boat got lost. Anyone thinking about boats and the word lost? Anyway, and then they do this, the one thing that, he bids $500,000 for, but then I don't know if you saw, the reason I brought up captions is because as he's walking off, the captions show the next item, Charles Dickens's possessions when he died, like literally what it said on there.
No, that's great. I missed that. That's awesome. Well, that's actually all I've got for Lost 405, The Constant. I see why it was a close shave but why it was rated the top episodes. A really, really good story and fairly well told, I have to say.
I'm really, really glad that this one made the cut. The other one, I think it was more integral to the main plot line. So we lucked out by a hair.
Side note, for those who care, I did not realize until rewatching Lost here that Penelope, the woman who plays Penelope, also plays Molly on For All Mankind.
Oh, I didn't know that. I do remember that at that time when they introduced the character of Penelope, it was just after our daughter. I had read Freakonomics, and in the book Freakonomics, they talk about the cultural phenomenon of elites picking certain names that become popular, and then they just like any other fashion trend, they feel played out, and then people move on. And so an exotic name like Tiffany eventually goes through different phases and becomes associated with less exotic things. And so we picked the name Penelope because it wasn't in the top 100 of Social Security names picked, and we were very proud of it. And then Penelope came to Lost, and I was like, damn it, don't.
Well, yeah, and Lost is if you notice, picking names quite intentionally. Michael Faraday is the physicist. Desmond Hume is the character.
Penelope is the wife of Odysseus. So you have Desmond as, lost out at sea, and yeah.
There's also Locke, who we've never met, actually. We've only seen.
Locke they riffed on Locke and Rousseau, right?
Yeah. Well, and Hume, David Hume is also in that conversation. Right. Yeah. Well, that is it for our full experience of Lost, the ultimate episode. Next time, we will be watching the lowest rated episode on IMDb. So we'll be jumping back 2 seasons to season 2, episode 12, Fire and Water, which first aired January 25th, 2006. That is the worst episode of Lost, according to the folks who rate things on IMDb.
This may break our streak, Tom, because so far we're very pleased with the full experience. And the best full experience is when the lowest rated episode is a clip show, so that we get to, they didn't like it because it wasn't new. And other times the lowest rated is something experimental, like they explore a minor character instead of getting to the big will they, won't they, or whatever. But in this case, Lost had a very, very rough season 2 on account of the writer's strike, and it was bad. So I wonder whether or not we'll be as happy with the full experience next week.
I try to not look at show descriptions or anything when we're doing the full experience. I want to go in, as innocent as possible. But I did wonder if this was the Nikki and Paolo episode, which is considered one of the worst, definitely standalone throwaway episodes, and it's not.
Oh,
according to the people on IMDb, this is worse than the Nikki and Paolo episode. So
yay.
Look forward to our impressions of Fire and Water, season 2, episode 12, next time on the full experience. If you would like to get these episodes before everybody else, if you would like to listen in on our conversations and find out, hey, are they gonna pick Stargate SG-1? If not, why? If so, why? Get after talk. All of that stuff happens if you're a patron. Become a patron right now. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. We'll see you next time.
I forgot to. I did. when I stopped the recording, it says, "Do you want to stop the recording?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know I had to double tap it." And so there's a little bit of us just squinting after the credits on there. So just there's that. All right. Well, with
No
that,
worries.
we will bid you, the live viewers a fond adieu. If you guys haven't heard, there's some counter programming that's screwing up Great Night. Apparently, a former reality TV star is commandeering all of the channels in a little stat of the union. I'm unfamiliar with it, but there's some other thing happening that the whole world needs to watch.
Oh, do people watch that?
I don't. Well, you know what? One person does if he's going to be on television doing a news hit about it immediately upon its completion.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your co-host does.
Yes.
The only one.
Yes.
But for you,
he
the most
watches it
important
bravely, so we don't have to.
Oh, that's nice of him.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin, for your service.
All
All
right.
right. Well, we're going to go